yes, I do believe it, that is very important for someone to define a relationship. Sure. So that I think for clarity, first of all, and so that both of you can be on the same page. On one hand, it is cheating, but on the other hand, also it is not cheating. Because if you've not defined it, for example, me as a guy, if I've not defined a relationship I am having with a lady, if she finds me dating or having a relationship with another lady, for me it is not cheating. But of course, from her, or from her perspective, it is cheating because now maybe in her mind, since we've been together sexually, she has that mentality that we are dating.
Naona ni muhimu as like two adults could define mali relationship yenye inaenda. Juu najua kitu ya kwanza lazima kuwe na trust. Ndo at least mjue. Juu najua dunia siku hizi ni tricky. So kutafuta ule life partner lazima mdefine like status yenyu, ujue kama either mnadate either for fun ama like for a lifetime. Kitu ka hiyo. Repercussions za kutokuwa clean, like kudefine relationship yenyu, kuna kitu ni unfaithfulness na pia kuna magonjwa huko nje, so lazima mkuwe keen ile kitu mnafanya.
Welcome back. That's exactly what people had to say in the streets. Remember, you can tell us exactly what you think using the hashtag #KTNLifeAndStyle. Our main topic of today is it important to have the what are we conversation, and when should we have that conversation? If you're joining us, we had the DMC earlier on. We had Alvin and Nessie. You can catch them on the social media pages. And right about now, we have Ken Munywa. He is a psychologist. And we have Brenda Jones, the queen of comedy. I mean, she is no new to anybody, you know? Honestly. How do I even introduce you? It's okay. Brenda is okay. Brenda. This is the only Brenda we know. Okay. So maybe I could start with the psychologist. They are just shaky with this whole what are we conversation.
You know? Date. But you can be dating and not really dating. You know, what does that mean?
That's the thing. And then if you've gotten physically intimate, don't think that we are dating. Just slow your roll. I'm like, sir, kindly tell us, what are we conversation? How soon should you have it, and is it even that important to have it?
Thank you very much for having me in your show.
You're welcome.
And I really admire the couple that was here before.
How everybody else does.
But it's very important for people to define who they are, but not immediately. The problem we are having with the dating group right now is that they want everything to be very fast. They want to know what they are getting into. They have the quick win mentality, which doesn't win. As they said, the couple that was here before, is that dating towards marriage is a journey. It's a process. It's not an event. It's not like we meet today either online or in person, and then tomorrow we are defining are we dating or are we not. Remember, no one is entirely single at one particular time. They have a history somewhere. Maybe they have a high school lover who let them down, or they have an immediate ex who has not yet said, are we off, are we separating? So it's okay to understand where is the person at this particular time. You may be in a hurry. There are some people who are desperate because maybe their age mates are getting hooked.
Oh, so they're feeling pressure.
Yeah, and weddings have been happening the entire year, and I think one of my to-do list was to get married in the course of the year, and so it's already in August. I don't have anyone, so you want to harakisha. It can't work like that. So you take time, and dating, before you get to dating, you have to go through an entire process altogether. There's a singer who asked, how can we be lovers if we can't be friends? Before you become friends, you actually become acquaintances. You're strangers at first.
Yeah.
I have a thing for you, or maybe you don't have a thing for me. And then all of a sudden we start meeting in social joints or churches. But the problem is, with our generation in this technology, is that people are meeting online, sexting, and then when they meet physically, it's like they had a relationship altogether. And today, being the physical meeting, is when now we define who we are. It can work like that. You have to take your time.
Well, I should have carried a notebook.
Honestly, like, I feel like there are key points.
Yeah.
I could have forgotten. Brenda. Yes. First of all, I'm so happy to have Mama Jerry and Mama President Kingston on the show. Yes. So this is keeping it real. I mean, you emulate a mom on your comedy, which is hilarious. An African mom. But you're a young, very beautiful girl. So what has been your experience, or what do you think about this whole thing? Do you think there's too much pressure in this what are we conversation, or I think it's necessary and should be had ASAP?
Somebody who follows me closely knows I do have these conversations on my Insta stories. Very oftenly I do. And I'm a Christian preacher going through theology. So
really,
yes,
that's why it's Ministry of Comedy.
Yeah,
that makes so much sense.
Yes.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure whether it was the Christian reference or
yeah,
not.
me too.
It's
I
the
just thought it was
Christian.
the title.
No, it's the Christian thing. That's what I was nominated for Groove Awards this year.
Right.
Because I have these Christian conversations on my Instagram and all that. So, from a Christian perspective, I think what he has said is true. Take your time. Take your time. What the previous guys said. The lady said, if you're single, please enjoy the singlehood. It's really important. Enjoy singlehood. In that singlehood, you find yourself, you find God. This is me speaking as a Christian now.
Yeah.
You find yourself, you find God, you define who you are and what you want. As Christians, we don't date to try. We have an end goal, that is marriage. You don't kubahatisha. There's nothing like that in Christianity.
I think that should apply for not just
nothing like that.
Everybody in general.
You know, guys think, I'm single, my friends are dating, I have this guy hook up, that's it. I'm dating, I'm with someone.
Yeah.
But for Christians, it's I am dating this person intentionally for marriage.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's something that she's saying which is very important for people to understand, is that you can't find happiness in another person if you yourself aren't happy.
Yeah.
Marriage is not where people will go and find happiness. You must have enjoyed life altogether and then felt a void. This void will be filled by another person. But you can't be sad your entire life and you think when I get married, I've been married for, this is my 9th year.
Congratulations.
Nice.
And I can tell you it's about uphills and downhills.
Yeah.
And sometimes the downhills can remind you that at least I enjoyed somewhere. And the uphills will always remind you that there's somebody I enjoy the company with. So you don't think that I have this life that is antisocial, and when I get somebody, they will make me happy, and my life will be like what we read in the novels. That is just scripted.
Yeah.
And
It's
again,
not real
there are
life.
people who define their individual happiness with the idea of, I want to get in touch with God, and then I want to get in touch with the money, I want to secure the bag. So it's sort of like, especially with our generation, I have to say, most people are glued to the fact that I just want to have a relationship with God and the money. I don't want no man's in my life. I don't want any woman in my life. So it's sort of like we've created that boundaries for ourselves.
But isn't that confusing? Because even the Bible that we read says you can't love God, you can't serve God and serve money. So when you bring the two, you have to choose which is.
Really?
Yes.
That's been the news on the streets.
And you see, what she's talking about is marriage.
Yeah.
Is the final destination.
Yeah.
And what people need to know is immediately you get married, you start a new life altogether. You explore each other. Majority of your age, they give up within the first 5 years.
And that's the thing with the millennials,
Yes,
yeah?
because millennials have been brought up with either they win or they win.
Yeah.
They don't know how patience works.
That's
And
true.
marriage is about patience. Remember, if you have siblings born from the same mother, there are instances where we don't agree with our siblings, people
Very
whom we
many.
share blood with.
Yeah.
But here I am with somebody who is a stranger to me. I can tell you for 9 years, I haven't yet understood her. And she's watching, and I know she will tell you for a fact, 9 years later, she doesn't fully understand me. Because this is a journey of exploration. You get to learn each other as the days go by. And we are products and producers of our environment. So where I come from also really matter on who I become even when I become married.
Right. Okay, because you're talking about growing in marriage and how you actually learn each other as you go. And I asked the question on my Instagram about what do you usually, my question was actually how do you usually respond to the question of what are you when you've just been dating somebody for a short time and then now feeling like I'm at a juncture where I need you to, are we dating, are we together, or can I date other people, like what's going on here? But the thing is, marriage is a scary concept for millennials, and I'll speak for us. It seems very intimidating to give myself to this person forever. And like you're saying, you keep learning about this person. And we see so many marriages that are done helter-skelter. People are very quick and they're looking for security, and then horrible situations. And for millennials, with divorce becoming more acceptable and things like that, so many people grow up with their parents separating, with their parents divorced. People are raised by single. So that fear comes from where you're raised and what you're seeing. And I asked people how they respond. So how do you usually respond to their "what are we" conversation? Somebody said, she says, "We are siblings in Christ." She's like, "I don't want to address it." There's a guy who said, he answered when he was last asked, he answered and said, "We are mammals." Okay?
Yeah.
We're mammals. And then he said, "Long story short, I'm single now." Another person said, "My issue isn't with what the response is. It's more about when to ask the question." So speaking for millennials and how scared they are, what would you say is the guidance? Because people are getting married later and later and later, or people are more fearful about commitment and deciding that maybe they don't want to be married at all. How do we tackle that fear in considering how we've grown up and what we've seen?
Now, if you go through the process naturally, you do not even need to ask that question. There's a strong bonding that comes in when you feel like you have met the right person. And you, the question is, why are you in a hurry to define who you are? Love is an emotional choice. We make a choice on whom to love and whom not to love. But when you go through it because others are going through it, are you ready? Are you ripe? Like you said, there are people who are coming from parents and families that are dysfunctional.
Yeah.
My mother and my father were not in good terms. So all along, I think marriage is about that we will not be in good terms at one particular time. So you have to undo the mistake that was done in your childhood for you to be ready to have a new life altogether. It's a new chapter. Many preachers, and I like Brenda, and she says she's doing theology. For my undergraduate, I did the psychology as a major and a minor in theology.
Okay.
Many preachers will talk about breaking the generational curses.
Yeah.
That is what we call in counseling the regressions and the fixations that we had. Because if you went through a battering father, a father who was being battered by the mother, or vice versa, you will think that that is what happened in all marriages.
Yeah.
You have to go through therapy yourself to undo that and learn that people are actually friendly. People are good out there. Then again, don't, your age mates are so ready for wedding, but they are never prepared for marriage.
But then those two are two different things.
Yes.
I think people don't get it.
We are so ready for baby shower, but we are not ready to be a mother.
Yeah.
Because we are not teaching. I like saying that sometimes I get controversial because there is no way your single friends who have never experienced being mothers can hold a bridal shower for you to teach you how to be a mother. How? What do they know? There's no way you can start walking with single men, yet you're ready to get married, and you're waiting for this single man to teach you how to be a husband. How? And you need to know when you're ready for your next step, you must leave the old and start embracing the new. So when you're ready for marriage, you start spending time with married men so that they start telling you the challenges of marriage.
Maybe Brenda, imagine you've had everything that he said and then you're practicing it in your life. Who do you think should ask the question, what are we? The man or the woman? Considering you're a Christian and there's somewhere in the Bible that says the man should be the priest of the house, you know, be in charge, be a man. Who do you think should ask the question, who are we?
Let me get personal for a minute.
This is what we've been waiting for.
Keeping it real.
No names yet, but I have been in such a situation recently whereby the vibe is real, we're cool, like we're going for dates and everything, but he's saying nothing. My friends are like, has he said it?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Bado. Lakini tunakutana kesho.
Weeks later, jioni tuko na dates. Weeks later, has he said anything? No. Until my mom is like, has he said anything?
Even your mom is like,
my mom is like, hey, nini kijana? Now the pressure from now people around me forced me to ask the question.
Right.
I was like, yo, bro, where are we going? Like, intentions zako ni gani? Who
Yeah.
are we? What are we?
The fact that you called him bro,
Bro.
like you are in the bro zone right now. You better
Yeah,
tell me
you're
where
playing
we are
games.
headed.
You're-
Yes, or you are bro zoned. Like it's A, B, C, D, or you're brozoned.
Yeah.
But you also need to ask yourself, were you intimidating that guy by who you are?
Oh, yeah.
No, I want to hear first what he said when you asked.
Apparently, he was, that is it. He was a bit intimidated by who I am, but he actually opened up after that.
Okay.
He came clean, like, yo, I have feelings, nini, or 1, 2, 3 things. So, yeah.
Okay.
Let's also be fair to the boy child. We are raising a boy child that is cowardly. A boy child that has been asked to be reserved a little so that we propel the agenda of the girl child. The feminists are taking over the world to show us that the boy child is no longer where he's supposed to. And this war will not be won anytime soon.
Yeah.
Because he or she must be there.
Yeah.
If Brenda, being a public figure, and this is a guy who thinks, I'm almost there, but I am not yet sure whether there is another person. But maybe the mistake that you did is to introduce other third parties that gave you pressure. Yeah? In a relationship, 3 is a crowd.
Right.
So you don't introduce a crowd before you even know who you are. Because the mistakes we make is you meet, 6 months later, you've met your parents. Another 6 months, another guy. Your parents will be like, who is who? Yeah? And you know, parents have a way of first rejecting and then accepting. But there's also an age that reaches at the age of 27 and your parents don't see any sign of you getting committed. They start getting worried.
I get that because I was actually having a conversation with a really close guy friend of mine, and he was telling me how he doesn't go for family functions if he doesn't have a date to go with anymore, because it's literally getting ridiculous. And he's like, I just go for the comfort of my uncles and aunties and parents, just feeling like, okay, at least thank God, at least he's dating. But I think sometimes that pressure, I don't know. I mean, one, when I get married, you're not going to be with me and this husband in this house.
True.
So what is this thing of you want to be so much in this pressure? Because I think, like you're saying, 3 is a crowd. But sometimes you don't necessarily welcome them into the relationship. You see, her mom will just see because you're going out. Even if unasemanga we meet at the gates, they've never met. There's Susan is at dinner. When I message her, where are you, Nana? She's going to dinner Wednesday and Friday for like 3 weeks. She's with a certain person, or she's collected, or she's in a good mood. When she comes back, she's not maybe so broke because we've been sharing the bill, or he's been paying, or something like that, but she's been frequently going out way more than she was. It's impossible to keep it as a secret. I'll confide in my girlfriends because maybe I borrow a dress, so I'm just like, oh, I can't hang out because I'm going to dinner. Eventually people will know. So the pressure will come. But my question is, what is this pressure society has on telling all these young people to get married and be in relationships when I'm in that relationship, you're not going to be there with me?
Exactly.
I think it's all about the societal expectations.
Susan is so mad.
I'm just like, I find
okay,
it
you can
so,
breathe in and out.
Yeah, I'm like, let me calm down. I'm supposed to be hosting you, and I'm sounding like I'm about to kick you out.
No, in African context, I like reminding people that you must define who you are first. Before before I became a Christian, I was a Kikuyu. So there's a Kikuyu in me, there's a Christian in me, there's a counselor in me. All these 3, they must not have a conflict. The Kikuyu in me, it is expected that once you become of age, you must get married.
Yeah.
The problem is the uncles that you used to teach the young men of marriage, they no longer exist because they are so ready to drink during your wedding. So they are not there to celebrate you or your milestones. They are ready to...
For the event.
For the event. The Christian in you must also know that as age catches up with you, there are things that are expected of you. Multiply and fill the earth. At what time do you do that?
Right.
And I know people will ask, is there an age for getting married? Out there, people will say age is just a number. I'll tell you, age is not just a number. You must sire children when you are young so that you enjoy the days of your youth with your children. After 23 is an age for getting married for anyone. After 35 is a desperate age where you will just move with anyone. So it's between 23 and 35.
I think we are starting to accept applications. Now,
So we're running out of time, guys.
God, that's crazy. I like how you put everything into perspective, yeah? And again, Brenda, when it comes to, you see how the man was intimidated by the fact that it's Brenda we were talking
Brenda
about,
John,
yeah?
yes.
What happens when the man is earning less? Let's talk financial matters. when the man is earning less than the woman, how do you handle that? Because again, you say the boy child has been made to feel yeah all the time, you know. So what happens when you're in a relationship or you really like somebody, but then now you sort of don't want to commit because your paycheck is like half her paycheck?
Is it time for testimony?
Yes.
When I got to know my wife now, when she was my girlfriend, I'll tell you I was very broke. Broke is actually the good terminology. And in our 9 years, she knows I work in private sector, consultancy. So consultancies, there are ups and downs.
Yeah.
Sometimes business will be good, other times business will be negatives. It is all about communication. And just get to know this, there's no rich person, like a person who has a strong will. It's not about what is in their account. It's all about what's their vision. Are they lacking right now because they are lazy, or are they lacking because they are not lucky? At one particular time, we have so many people who work hard, but they are never lucky. But that doesn't mean that we will not be unlucky forever. So it's all about, look at what is this person trying to achieve in their life. Some take a lot of time. It's not all of us who can get to KTN studios through using Mombasa Road.
Yeah.
Others have to circumvent Maram roads, murky water roads, and tarmac roads, and then sometimes even the cab they are using get arrested along the way, but at the end of the day, they will arrive here. So it's all about, do you have a vision? And now, to understand a guy that has a vision, or a lady that has a vision, you must take some time to know them. Remember when, I don't know whether you were taught about the 90 days rule, where you don't just commit to a person without getting to know them in detail and getting to understand where they're coming from. And then again, you must understand that having a father who is broke is not my mistake. But having a broke father-in-law is the biggest mistake I can make.
What?
So even searching with serious vision
Yes.
about your partner, and like you're saying, it was about aspiring, like what you want to be, you need those people around you. So even with your father-in-law, your potential partner, if there's a certain vision you have, they need to be aligned
You see,
to that goal.
how you get to know is when you listen now intently. You listen to the person you have intention to marry.
Yeah.
And you ask them about their family and who they are and what their siblings do or what their parents do. And also get to understand, like for me, I was very interested to know how my wife talks about the father. Because how she treats the father is the same way she will treat me. And how I treat my mother is the same way I will treat my wife. Do young ones know that? Do they even have time to listen to how I talk about my mother, how she talks about the father? And if she doesn't have a father, how does she talk about man life? Because now you're coming from matriarchal to patriarchal. She's used to being led by a woman. Will she be ready to commit to a man now?
Wow, first of all, those are so many other questions rather than just who are we?
Yeah.
It means that it's a multifaceted conversation. Guys, we are going to be right back. We are going to take a tiny, short little break, okay? Just a tiny, short little break. Remember to continue talking to us on our social media. Use the hashtag KTN Life and Style on Twitter, and we are going to read all your feedback. You can get a lot of guidance here. I'm with Brenda Jones and Ken Munoz. We're going to take a tiny break, and we'll be right back.